Hey guys, what's up? Wanted to do a new Civ 6 video for all of us. Now, I think this is a game that we're going to start playing more of, and like Civ 5, it's a lot more fun when you have more people that are playing. So, I wanted to do a video to help people kind of get into Civ 6 because it is pretty different than Civ 5. Some of the biggest differences between the two games is an introduction of a civics tree, which replaces the old social policies, a much more advanced AI, new mechanics in the form of housing, eras, and loyalty, and also the introduction of governors. Now, we're playing Civ 6 with the Rise and Fall expansion, no other mods, no other DLC. So don't feel compelled to buy all the other Civilization DLCs. There's already a lot to choose from just between the base game and the expansion. The first thing I want to do is cover some of the UI elements for you just to help get you situated. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is look at the minimap in the bottom left corner. Now above this minimap you'll find a couple of different buttons. You'll find lenses, which just give you some more topographical information, different filters basically on how you look at the map. Map options is the key thing we're looking for here now. We want to make sure that our grid is on, our resource icons are on, and our yield icons are on for each tile. This will allow us to quickly determine what tiles provide, what resources are on them, and helps us determine good tiles from bad tiles at a glance. In the bottom right corner, we see our turn indicator. This will let us know what we need to do to proceed with our turn. And on the very bottom of that, you'll find your era score, and we're going to talk more about this a little bit later. Up in the top right, you'll find the turn, the year, the time, any of the civilizations that you've met, well as world rankings. This is where you can quickly determine who is in what place at different aspects of the game, allowing you to get an idea of what player is working towards. If I go into domination and I have other players in here that I've met, I'd be able to see their military score. If somebody's military score spikes, it's probably an indication that they're building up an army, things to kind of keep an eye out for. In the top left, we find a couple of different options. We'll find our tech tree, our civics tree, great people progress, governors, history timeline, as well as the toggle world tracker options, which just show you what you're researching in both your tech tree and your civic tree at that moment. Above that, we'll find our science, culture, faith, gold per turn, envoys that we have with city states, as well as our reports button, which just gives us more detailed information. When you click on a city, you pull up the City Information tab. You'll be able to locate all the information you need to know about the city as well as various sub-menus for the city. You'll have a Toggle City Detail screen, which shows you additional information about the city, tiles available for purchase, items available for purchase, meaning buildings and units, items that you could purchase with faith once you've discovered a religion, and you could change your city's production by clicking on it. Your Manage Citizens tab is located here as well. Citizens work just as they did in Civ 5. They give you the bonus of the tile that they're working towards your city's production, food, gold, culture, science, and faith. You can adjust which tile your citizen works. When you click on a tile, it'll lock the citizen to that tile. You'll have to click it again to unlock it, and then you can move the tile. This is important so you can maximize what your citizens are working, making sure you're researching the best tiles, as sometimes the automatic system doesn't prioritize things appropriately. This is a little too overwhelming for you. You can always use these buttons located down here to show what you do and don't want to work. Let's say you want to prioritize food, but you don't want to prioritize faith. I could simply click the Focus Citizens on Food. It's going to maximize the amount of food that I'm getting, and I can click on this button twice. Now citizens will ignore faith. This is a quick way to manage your citizens without having to micro each one. Additionally, in this window, you'll be able to see your loyalty, religious citizens, amenities, which are equivalent to luxury resources, your housing, turns until your population growth, and turns until production's complete. The first thing that we need to talk about is housing and water. Housing is a mechanic that works side by side with your population to dictate how much and how fast you can grow. The way that the housing mechanic works is simple. Your housing number is a soft cap, meaning you can go above your housing limit. However, there are penalties in doing so. Let's say that your soft housing cap is 5. You can have 4 population, and that 4 population will grow at 100% speed, or normal speed. Your 5th population, filling your cap up to maximum, grows at 50% of the normal rate. You can have plus 5 population over your cap. Doesn't matter what your cap is, it's always plus 5. Those 5 populations grow at a 75% reduced rate. So at that point, it takes you almost double the time to turn a population. This is obviously going to hinder you drastically in the game, so you want to make sure that your housing is above your population at all times. You can increase housing with civics, research, tile improvements, great people, and buildings. When you settle a city gives you +1 housing automatically, but you can get bonuses to it based on the water that is nearby the city. When you select a settler, you'll have a chart here, your water availability guide. If you're by freshwater, you get +3 housing to your city. If you're by coastal water, you get +1 housing to your city. If you have no water, you get no bonus. Too close to a city or blocked by terrain, this just is where you can't settle. Now, aside from telling us that we have fresh water within 1 tile, which gives us +3 housing, that also helps me determine that this is not an ocean, but rather a lake, something that you might not know looking at it, especially being as close to the edge as we are. Oasis tiles, lakes, rivers, and mountains will give you water. If, for some reason, you can't settle near freshwater or coastal water, there is an option. You can build an aqueduct district, which will pipe water within 1 tile. If I had settled on this forest here, I could build an aqueduct on this tile, which would give me the same freshwater bonus that I would have received if I had settled here. If you already have fresh water and you build an aqueduct, it just gives you a +2 housing bonus. When you select a settler that you build after your initial settlement, you'll get a quick color-coded guide to your water. I want to prioritize dark green tiles if at all possible, as that'll give me +3 housing. If I can't, the next thing I'd settle for are the light green tiles, and then you have your no bonus tiles here. You'll be prompted in the bottom right whenever a technology is not being researched. When you click on the Choose a Research item, it'll open up a simple menu showing you which research is available. I recommend opening the technology tree. That way you can visualize the entire tech tree and see what leads to what techs. Techs can be boosted by completing miniature quests. In this case, because we founded a city on the coast, we got a boost to our sailing technology. While everything else on the same level of the tech tree would take 10 turns to research, we're going to be able to research sailing in just 7 turns. Every tech past the initial 3 has a boost available to it. It's important to prioritize the boost based on your win conditions. If you're going to go with a military victory, you'll want to build units early, kill a unit with a slinger, and kill 3 barbarians. This will give you a quick path through archery and bronze working, giving you boost to your military techs. Here we met France, and it prompted us that we got a boost to writing because we met another civilization. Here we got a boost for locating a natural wonder. Your civilization will automatically start researching the Code of Laws. When the Code of Laws is completed, it'll open up your civics tree and allow you to dictate your government and what policies your civilization uses. Now that we've researched Code of Laws, we've opened up our civics tree. The first thing you're going to want to do is change your policy. This will open up the government tab that you can find here in the top left. There are different governments that'll become available as you research them. But right now you start off with the chiefdom. In the chiefdom, you have the ability to have one military policy and one economic policy. You have different policies that are like cards located on the right-hand side. You can assign these to each equivalent policy. It's worth mentioning that different governments give you different number of slots. For example, monarchy gives you 3 military, but only gives you 1 diplomatic and 1 economic, as well as 1 wild card. In this case, I want to have extra combat strength when fighting barbarians and extra production in my cities. The next thing we need to do is choose a civic. Just like the technology tree, this will open up a simple menu. I recommend opening up the civics tree so you can view the whole tree. This is everything that's replaced the social policies from Civ 5. Just like technologies, you can receive boosts to your different civics. This also shows you the new policies that you can learn, so when you find one that you really want, that's what you're going to want to work. In this case, I want the extra production towards settlers with the early empire. So I'm going to go ahead and research foreign trade and then go into early empire. Anytime we get new policies, it does allow us to change for free. Here I can add God King, or I could change into caravansaries, or I could put maritime industries in if I want to change it. Now that we've done some of the simpler things, let's talk about districts. Districts are a new way of building and improving cities in Civilization 6. In Civ 5, you could build every building in a city, and there was no penalty or limit in doing so other than the gold upkeep. Things don't work that way in Civ 6. Here, in Civ 6, you build what's called districts. Districts are actually built on tiles, so you're limited by the number of tiles that your city has, as well as what tiles the district can be built on. In this case, we have a holy site district. You'll see that the holy site gives me +1 great profit point per turn and gives me plus faith based on adjacent tiles. I gain +2 faith for each adjacent natural wonder tile, +1 faith for each adjacent mountain tile, +1 faith for every 2 adjacent woods tiles, +1 faith for every 2 adjacent district tiles, and +1 faith for each adjacent government plaza tile. When I go to build the holy site, it will show me where I can build it by highlighting the tiles. Any tile that's highlighted, whether you own it or not, it can be built on. However, you'll have to buy the tile first. This is showing me I can build it on any of these tiles, even though I don't own them, but I do need to gain the tile first. The ones that are highlighted green, I could build it on, and I already own the tile. Additionally, this will show you any bonuses that you gain. I gain +1 faith for adjacent wood tiles on this tile. However, I have a red exclamation point showing me that I will lose the wheat if I build the district here. I don't gain any bonuses here because it's only 1 woods tile as opposed to 2. The holy site is now going to consume this tile, and this is where I'll be able to build holy buildings. However, there's a limit to how many I can build in the district. You're not going to be able to build every building like you did in Civ 5. There are multiple districts, including for commerce, industrial, entertainment, religion, science, and military, as well as government. You'll find here a cheat sheet for building districts. It's not exact, and you're not going to be able to build to this diagram every single time because the layout of the land and where you can actually build districts will vary. However, it does give you kind of a rough idea of how the districts work. Prioritizing district placement and building it in a way where you can get maximum tile yield for production and food for your cities and maximum district yield is going to be the key to winning Civ 6. Additionally, it's worth mentioning that wonders also consume tiles now. So you're not going to be able to spam wonders just because you have increased production. You'll need to make sure you have the appropriate tile to build it on. Now that our holy site district is built, we'll see the items available to build within it. Here I could build a shrine. You'll also see that there's a campus district available to me. However, you're limited to the number of districts you could build based on your population. You're allowed 1 district for your first population, and then each additional district after that requires 3 pop. To build a campus district, I'll need a population of 4 or greater. If I want to build a 3rd district after that, I'll need a population of 7 or greater in that city. Now that I've reached 4 pop, I can go ahead and build my next district. Here I want to build a campus. Campuses can only be built on certain tiles. In this case, the only land that I have available to build my campus district on are my wheat farms. I can either sacrifice the wheat farm to build the campus district, wait the 3 turns until my border acquires this tile, or buy one of these other tiles to gain access to build it now. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this tile and start building the campus district here. The last mechanic that we need to talk about is eras, ages, loyalty, and governors, and they all tie hand in hand. First, let's talk about loyalty. Loyalty is a pressure mechanic similar to how religious pressure worked in Civilization 5. Click on a city, you'll see your city's current loyalty towards you. You can also just mouse over the little icon here on the city tab. The green arrow shows me that I'm not losing any loyalty, and right now I'm fully loyal. This city belongs to Scotland. Loyalty is similar to happiness was in Civ 5, in the sense that if you go negative for too long, your cities will rebel and you'll lose control of the city. If at any point you get a warning that your city is going to rebel in X number of turns, what will happen is at that point, the city will become a free city. It's a neutral city that anybody could take over at that point. You could take over free cities by converting the population through loyalty or through quick military action. The AI jumps on free cities pretty quickly, so if you lose your city that way, you'll want to take it back as soon as you can. Your population gives off loyalty pressure. You can identify loyalty quickly by going to the lenses option and checking loyalty. Here you can see France is emitting slight pressure to my city, but it's not affecting me. Additionally, my city is putting pressure to Paris, but it's not affecting them. The city will fall to free city when the loyalty reaches 0, but there are no risk of that right now. When settling, you'll also get a reference to the loyalty penalties. If I were to settle right here, I would get a -4 loyalty per turn because of how close I am to France's cities. If I settled here, I'd get a -14 loyalty pressure. I obviously want to settle away from any loyalty penalties as close to fresh water as I can, giving my city the best possible chance. Once you research enough of the civic tree, you'll unlock governors. You'll be prompted to appoint a governor. Governors and governor upgrades are called governor titles. I have 1 available here, which means I can hire 1 governor. Governors increase loyalty to the city as well as provide cities with specific bonuses. Each governor is different, and there are 7 to choose from. You can have 1 governor per city. However, after 7, you will not have any more governors. A governor increases the loyalty by 8 per turn towards your civilization. This is a huge buff to your city on top of the additional buffs that the governors give you. When you have a governor title available, you can choose to appoint a new governor or upgrade an existing one. You'll find a very small tech tree for each governor, and you can build throughout this and put your points where you see fit. In this case, I'm going to appoint Victor, and I'm going to select Sterling and assign him there. It'll take a few turns, but once he's established there, I'll start getting a loyalty buff as well as any bonuses that he gives me. I just unlocked another governor title. If I go to the governor tabs, I have a new governor title available. I only have 1 city, so I could just promote the governor that I have in it. However, I'm about to settle a new city and would love to get a governor into that city immediately. You don't have to spend your point right away. Now that I've founded a city, I can go back to my governors, and I can do this on any other turn and appoint a new governor to go to my new city. Now let's talk about eras and ages as it directly affects your loyalty. There are 4 different ages that you can earn: dark, normal, golden, and heroic. A normal age gives no bonus to loyalty. A dark age means your citizens only give off half of the loyalty pressure they normally would, and a golden age allows your citizens to give off more loyalty pressure than they normally would. A heroic age happens when you go from a dark age into a golden age, without transitioning into a normal age in between. It's harder to obtain and gives you more benefits than a traditional golden age. On the bottom right, we have our era score. This shows you the threshold to avoiding a dark age or earning a golden age. Right now I'm at an era score of 6. I need to be at 12 or above to avoid a dark age. If I can get a 24 or above, I'll get a golden age. Because we met France, we got +1 to our era score. We also got +3 on our era score for finding the natural wonder. The eras change with the technology tree. Here's your classical era. When somebody researches a tech located in here, you'll go from one age to the next. This is your timeline to when you have to meet those requirements. If I'm not at 12 or above by the time somebody researches one of these techs, I will fall into a dark age. Conversely, if I'm at 24 or above, I'll hit a golden age. This resets each time with the score becoming higher and higher. As we've shown you before, there's different ways to get era scores. Anything that's monumental, discovering new continents, meeting new civilizations, researching certain technologies or civics, religious ideologies, are all ways that you can get increased era. Note that when a civilization is close to advancing into a new era, you'll get a warning at the beginning of the turn letting you know how many turns you have left until the era changes. This will give you a heads up as to how quickly you need to gain era points. In this case, the ancient era ends in 8 turns. I'm still at 8 of 12 points. I have 8 turns to get 4 era points, otherwise I'll be going into a dark age. It's worth mentioning that I'm speeding through the turns, and once you get an idea of what allows you to get era points, it is easy to avoid dark ages. However, getting a dark age isn't necessarily a bad thing, and does give you some bonuses in other ways. On the next turn, we're going to change eras. I don't have enough points to keep me out of a dark age. Every time you move into a new era, you have to make a dedication. Dedications are based on your era point. When you click the Make Dedication screen, any civilizations you've discovered will show what they got. In this case, French has a normal age, and Chinese are also in a dark age. Being in a dark age isn't necessarily a bad thing. We have powerful dedication policies that are available to us. However, we have a penalty to our loyalty. Whether you get a dark age, normal age, or golden age, you'll make a dedication. It's really important to focus your dedication towards improving your era points for the future. Because I got a dark age, I'll have an easier time getting a normal age in the next era. If I had a golden age, I'd have a harder time getting a normal age. Go through the dedications and see which one's going to work best with your playstyle. Each dedication works towards giving you extra era points, giving you an easier time towards a golden age. Era through Eurekas are era points that you gain every time you boost a science tech. Inspiration is every time you boost a civic policy. You can also get era for each time you construct a new district, or anytime you convert cities to a religion. These dedications will be different each time, so read through them and make sure you get one that works with how you're playing. One of the things I wanted to show you guys is the replacement of the ancient ruins from Civ 5. Here they're called tribal villages. They're a lot harder to see on the map. It's these little huts with yellow rooftops and a little campfire in the middle. In this case, we claimed the tribal village and it gave us a free scout. You'll see here that I got a boost for discovering another continent even though I'm playing on Pangea. If you go to your lenses and click on continent, this outlines the different continents. Even though they're all connected into one large landmass, there are 4 or 5 different continents on each one. There isn't a worker anymore in Civ 6. You have builders. Builders can improve tiles just like workers could. However, they're limited to the number of times they can be used. Builders can only do 3 actions before they're completely used up and disappear. You can increase this through policies or wonders. To compensate for this, tile improvements are done instantly. If you chop a forest, build a farm, build a mine, clear a marsh, it happens instantly as opposed to over several turns. One last tip for you guys. Just as in Civ 5, if you zoom all the way in on a river, you'll be able to see the river movement. If you follow the river downstream, you'll eventually come to the ocean or to a large lake body. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I know it was kind of dry, but I want it to be clear and concise about what the different mechanics are. If you have more questions on it, just shoot me a message on Discord and I'm happy to help you guys out. Civilization is a game that can certainly be overwhelming, and if you don't understand how the mechanics work, you can get punished pretty quickly for it. It's a game that's a lot more fun to play when you have more friends, so I want to make sure that everybody has a good understanding. That way you guys would be inclined to want to play.